Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with the CTV News Update. It's a fifth term for controversial Seat Pleasant Mayor Eugene Grant. Grant, who was recently stripped of his power following sexual harassment complaint, narrowly edged out former city employee Gigi Riley in yesterday's election. Riley, who had the support of many in the business community with whom Grant clashed, garnered 375 votes to Grant's 414. Grant, you'll recall, pitched a tent in front of City Hall in 2014 after council ordered him out of his office because of the way he was allegedly treating staff. CTV spoke with Grant about his win and getting beyond the controversies.
We have something that a lot of other communities are struggling with, and that is people who are engaged in their community. And I think that many of them are going to find themselves being more actively involved. It's up to us, the leaders, the council, and myself, to create those opportunities for them to be engaged in their government. And I think that we've done a great job in doing that. Now, it's just send the invitation once again to our residents and ask them to come and be involved.
The official result of yesterday's election will be made official at Monday's council meeting. Well, some popular fantasy sports sites are supporting the legalization of sports betting in Maryland. DraftKings and FanDuel have provided more than $700,000 to the group Vote Yes on Question 2 that launched today. It's urging Marylanders to support Question 2 on the November ballot. This will legalize sports betting in the state and raise money for education. The group estimates that up to $40 million would be raised for schools.
Close the digital divide, provide opportunities to pursue vocational and technical education, and hire more qualified teachers. Question 2 will put millions into Maryland schools using revenue from sports betting. I know it won't solve every problem, but a yes vote will help our Maryland schools.
The campaign is chaired by Marissa Coleman, a former UMD student and WNBA basketball player. Well, portions of a U.S. Postal Service postcard being sent out to the public regarding vote-by-mail options are inconsistent with state guidelines. That's according to the Maryland State Board of Elections. The board said voters should not wait until 15 days before Election Day, November 3rd, to request a mail-in ballot. The application must be received by October 20th. It's urging voters to mail in ballot applications now. Election officials also note that no postage is required to return a ballot and that you can also use ballot drop-off boxes throughout the state. Colorado filed a lawsuit Saturday against the Postal Service to stop delivery of the flyers. A federal judge issued a temporary restraining order stopping those mailings. Well, a council member from Anne Arundel County has tested positive for COVID-19. 41-year-old Andrew Prusky announced his diagnosis yesterday. Prusky says he's quarantining for 2 weeks and is working remotely. Meantime, the state health department today reports 10 new COVID-19 deaths. The Maryland death toll is now at 3,706. A Hyattsville police officer is indicted for allegedly brandishing a gun in front of teenagers while off duty. 29-year-old Mitchell Lowry has been suspended from the job and is facing 7 counts of first-degree assault. Authorities say he pulled out his weapon during an argument at a pool in Columbia back in July. Well, community groups, nonprofits, and government officials continue to outreach efforts to help families in need. Magruder Park in Hyattsville was the scene of another food distribution event this morning. Hundreds of boxes of fruit and produce were given away.
It's a difficult time for a lot of people right now, and we're doing what we can to try and help some of our families that are in need. We've been doing this since the middle of April. In partnership with Denny Tavares' office. She's a county council member for Prince George's County District 2. And this is probably going to be the last one for right now, but we anticipate starting up again in the fall. So it's been weekly since the middle of April.
A Maryland law that took effect last year has become very timely during the pandemic. The measure allows jurisdictions to offer financial relief for small businesses. Delegate Al Carr says Montgomery is the first county to consider using the funds.
We know our small businesses are struggling with the pandemic, and they were already struggling because of competition from online shopping and rents going up. So the General Assembly passed a bill in 2019 that allows the counties to give our small businesses a break. Montgomery County looks like they're going to be the first to take advantage of that, which will give about 5,100 retail brick and mortar businesses in Montgomery County a break on their fees that they pay every year, called the trader's license fee, and also eliminate some burdensome paperwork. It's modest help, but it definitely something that our small businesses can use during the time of the pandemic.
The County Council is scheduled to discuss the measure during its session today. Well, it was a virtual back-to-school night turned ugly. Hackers briefly took over a back-to-school Zoom call with Flowers High School parents, students, and educators. Cell phone video shows a school board member being interrupted by music, and then video of someone dancing. Several male voices could be heard saying the N-word about 20 times. About 600 people were on the call at the time. The district says that while the Zoom login was widely known, what happened is being investigated as a hacking because the individuals managed to take over that meeting. More than 30 Bowie State University ROTC cadets are receiving scholarships in memory of 2nd Lieutenant Richard Collins III. The scholarship awards are being announced tonight. They've been set aside for ROTC cadets attending Maryland's historically black colleges and universities. Collins was murdered in College Park in 2017, just days before graduating from Bowie State.
He was a student leader, he was a community leader, and then he was I'm not going to say the heart and soul of the program, but if he was not the heart and soul, he was definitely like the lungs that keeps us going. He was a leader that spent his time helping our cadets, really helping mentor and coach and teach. One of the things, of course, the scholarship means is we get to honor his legacy.
Collins will be posthumously promoted to the Army rank of 1st Lieutenant during that ceremony. Well, parents, listen up. A local black sorority chapter gearing up for a virtual college fair. The Psi Epsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is hosting an HBCU online college fair this Saturday. Students can learn about the state's HBCUs, including Bowie State and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Organizers will also discuss financial aid, and attendees will hear from current students and alumni.
One of the things that you hear about with our youth is that I want to go to college, but my parents can't afford it. I can't afford it. But there's ways that all types of alternatives that you can look into that can help to offset your expenses for going to college. We want to be able to provide that information to them now so they can have themselves get ready for when that time comes.
Also, the organization will host a virtual voter registration drive Thursday at 7 p.m. State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy will be the guest speaker for that event. For more information about the two upcoming events, visit akapeo.clubexpress.com. Well, today marks the beginning of the Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15th through October 15th. Throughout the month, CTV will bring you a series of vignettes highlighting notable people and events of Latino origin. We begin tonight with the story of Dolores Huerta.
This is American civil rights leader Dolores Huerta in a portrait by Chicana artist Barbara Carrasco. The Filipino Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee and the Mexican American National Farm Workers Association merged in 1966 to form the United Farm Workers Organizing Committee, or the UFW. The charismatic Chavez became the president and public face of the union, while Huerta did much of the practical work. At a time when labor organizing was dominated by men, Huerta was the UFW's vice president and its state and federal lobbyist. A brilliant strategist, she helped conceive, plan, and manage the grape boycott, which between 1966 and 1970 called consumers nationally and internationally not to shop at stores that carried grapes from growers reluctant to negotiate with the union. Remarkably persuasive and determined, Huerta also negotiated hundreds of contracts for the union, demanding fair wages and the fulfillment of basic needs in the fields, such as toilets and cold drinking water. She was instrumental to the passage in 1975 of the Agricultural Labor Relations Act, a landmark law that recognized the right of farm workers to unionize and negotiate their contracts.
Well, communities across the nation are celebrating the importance of inclusive neighborhoods during Welcoming Week. Councilmember Denny Tavares and the Prince George's Library System are partnering to host a series of virtual events. The national initiative helps communities reach their full economic and social potential by being inclusive communities, including for immigrants. This year's theme is Creating Home Together, and events will run through September 20th. For more information, you can log on to facebook.com/Denny Tavares. We're looking for something fun to do with your family at home. The Coalition for African Americans in the Performing Arts, also known as CAPA, is hosting a series of events this month to keep you entertained. CAPA is an organization that supports Black classical artists. Some of the upcoming events include CAPA's Melody of Art virtual season kickoff this Thursday at 7 p.m. You can see them on Facebook Live. CAPA's Chamber Ensemble is also performing at Wellspring Manor and Spa in Upper Marlboro on Thursday. Executive Director Terry Allen says her organization wants to bring classical music to the public.
Black classical musicians and opera singers are out there. They're doing their thing, and the virtual platforms is kind of leveling the playing ground for everyone. So we have an opportunity to showcase those Black classical musicians now. And it's so exciting because not only are we able to do it in this region, Prince George's County in particular, but also now internationally, because anyone can tune in to our Facebook live stream.
CAPA is also hosting programs for youngsters and young aspiring musicians. For more information, you can visit kappa.org. Well, we're less than 2 weeks away from the Go Read project when hundreds of athletes, including 2 from the U.S., will swim 3.5 miles in open water from Dakar to Goree Island off the west coast of Africa. Skylar Smith and Noah Nicholas have been selected by the organization Black Kids Swim to take part in the event. Both swam competitively at Howard University. Black Kids Swim is based in Prince George's County, and they're still in the process of raising funds to ensure that Smith and Nicholas can make the trip. For more information, go to blackkidswim.com. The event, the swim, is set for September 27th. And that wraps up our newscast for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. Join us tomorrow. Good night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
My God.
It's another sad day in America.
Painful to be introduced to George Floyd during his last breath.
With the cop's knee on his neck.
He deserves so much more.
How many black lives have to be taken before something is done?
We are not a threat.
I am shaking as I type.
This has got to stop.
We are sick of it.
We need conviction.
I just want us all to live.
The deaths will not stop until the powers that be are finally held accountable.
Don't look away from the truth until every one of us are free from white supremacy.
The world stands with you.
Criminalizing and killing of black and brown bodies is not new. It's as old as America. It's just getting filmed more.
Do you know what it feels like to be hunted? To have a new hashtag for a dead black person every single day? How does one plan a life if they aren't sure they will have a life to plan?
Deborah Dan,
Nina Pop, Stephen Clark, Nia Wilson,
Keisha Mike,
Christopher Dion,
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name.
Say his name.
George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names. Once again and always, we fight for justice. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Rest in power, beautiful.
Go to blacklivesmatter.com. To a child battling a critical illness, a wish can feel like a dream. But it's so much more. Wishes are an important part of medical treatment. A chance for kids to see themselves differently. Wishes can give kids the strength to fight, to get better, to grow up. Where there's a wish, there's a way.